单和上单的配合非常非常的好。
对，但其实也没什么难度，反正牛头有2个击飞，这2个哪一个命中？而且他是每次都是 WQ2连的话，都是比较精准的，都命中了。然后这边亚土跟上一个大就行。
好，那这场比赛如果说大家看了还不够过瘾的话，接下来这场比赛将会变得非常的血腥。
是的，
因为这场比赛可能直接关系到3个队伍的出线形势。
是的。
对。
那现在这场比赛的话，可以说如果说全取3分，老干爹全取3分应该是21分，是吧？
是的。
啊，20分还是21分？反正就是对于整个的
20分，他现在17。
对。然后就整个来说的话是先看一下这场的一个预测吧。
啊，怎么都是这样？
你们怎么都学我？
没有，这一局是我们先说的。
这局我在上一局开始之前就说了，我一定要预测老干爹2。
我在去年就说了。
其实你们这样对休息室里的小白真的很不公平。前面小白可是哭着流泪求你们说，千万不要预测。
是在求你，是在求
你，你这样对小白公平吗？他没杀了你，已经很爱你了。
主要是因为小白答应给 Joker 的辣酱已经拖了3个星期了。
对，然后 Joker 就报复一下。
不好意思，我不吃辣，谢谢。
它可以给你这种咸鲜味的。不过这场比赛的预测的原因呢，还是归功于现在老干爹的状态气势如虹。
对，
而 EDG 的话，最近的状态感觉不是特别的好。
对，现在老干爹状态就好的有点可怕。
对，
可能也是因为之前就一段比赛的时候，好像心态调整的比较好吧。
对，
最近他们比赛感觉打得很放松。
是的。就这支队伍的话，因为每一次输了比赛以后，他们队内都会有一个行动叫做抢锅，所以可能就是总的来说，感觉每个人都关系还不错。
而 EDG 最近的状态确实是，只能说是马马虎虎，相比他们之前一段时间的表现来说，现在只能说是很普通。
但是我感觉，如果我们3个预测一样的，很有可能会被打脸。
不，这个
主要是因为 Joker 跟我们一样。
现在的话，应该说 EDG 整个的状态，我觉得可能是什么原因啊？他们现在已经稳进季后赛了，然后再加上 S4的一个中国区预选赛的名额，他们也是在手中，所以说，
还真没稳进季后赛，你怎么又忘了前面说什么
啊？就是说比较稳进季后赛，
就比较稳，
对，比较稳。然后呢，就是他们现在有一个 S4中国区预选赛在手里面，
对
他们现在说不定是在 LPL 以赛代练，也是有这个可能的。
对，确实，就他们相对来讲的话，也可能有放松的原因吧。
对，是 EDG。
那最近输给皇族的这2场呢，就只能说，感觉那场确实皇族打得好，
对，
没什么办法。
不搬狮子狗，不搬狮子狗。现在有一种输法叫做不搬狮子狗。
对，这个英雄确实你不选就搬掉。
对。
就之前本来感觉狮子狗好像不是那么强，但是最近发现其他好像又都挨了一刀。
对，
狮子狗好像还凸显了，
而且在打团能力上面，狮子狗确实很强。看一下这边是扣肉，别名扣肉，用了2把蒙多和龙女。他用前排的英雄做的都不错，而且他的贾克斯其实玩的是比较溜的。
是的，他应该说最擅长的应该是贾克斯。
对，和教练一样。
就不知道最近那个什么牛头火起来之后，他有没有练一练，练得好不好？肯定现在大家应该都知道这个英雄。
厂长
之前是连用了2把皇子，肯定也是在狮子狗没选到的情况下。
他那2把皇子的话，我发现厂长现在可能是为了整个队伍的提升吧，他更多的是在做一些团队支援和辅助方面的工作。
对。
有阵亡榜的第1位，
今天应该也是会死的比较少吧？
对，这边拿的英雄的话也是比较的多样化的。他其实
还可以的。
对，而且优的话，我感觉他刺客型的英雄其实真的很。
And it looks like we are back. So thanks for sticking with us. Welcome back to our second best of 2 of the night. My name is Rapid, with me is Nero, and we're hopping into what should be one of, if not the best series. It's shaping up between one of the top teams in LPL. It's been EDG, but off of some rough games, they are facing off now against LGD, a team still fighting for the playoffs.
Yeah, and we cannot really say that LGD is really doing badly, because after the victories that they got lately, man, they are looking so strong. And actually, you weren't here for the predictions from the Chinese casters. All of them said that LGD is gonna 2-0 Edward Gaming right here. That would be crazy.
And those are some very bold predictions coming into our last week of the playoffs. You can see them on your screen. LGD with a 50% win ratio, but nothing but victories on their scorecard off of some immaculate performances from primarily XQ, like their AD carry and really just their entire carry lineup are just looking so strong. LGD, with their playoffs on the line once again, have to win their games tonight and then once again put their hopes in EDG tomorrow to pick up wins versus World Elite.
Yeah, and here's BYL, the support, the in-game leader for LGD, and he's just playing so well. his thrash is always on point. And when he got banned or taken away, he just goes for a Blitzcrank and got an MVP for this game. So, wow. BYL is just looking so strong. And as you said, the carry lineup for LGD is also really massive, so we'll get to see. Actually, we haven't seen a Tristana at all today, so maybe it will come into play in this best of 2.
That's true, and you have to look at, like I said, the entire carry lineup. It's not just XQ, it's Wayless, who has had some of the biggest farm games I've ever seen. He goes the Spirit of the Spectral Wraith on his Orianna, and he just farms his heart out. Incredibly impressive, active and then passive play as well, depending on which route he wants to go, because he also has that RA game in there that he really went off on.
But you have to watch out for his AP cog, because sometimes he goes for this champion and doesn't really do too well.
That is true.
Not many victories on this Kog'Maw side. Well, there you go, Chan. And there's also 17 on the top lane. The whole lineup of LGD actually stepped up a lot since the beginning of the split.
Yep, and finishing out the lineup for LGD. Gotta look to the top lane, and there is 17. He's got an incredibly diverse champion pool, whereas you saw guys like Khan on World Elite Academy with nothing but like 4 Renekton games in a row. 17's been playing a bunch of different things, including a top lane Kassadin. Wound up working out, so can't look towards that guy's champion pool as being narrow. You have to expect just about anything coming his way. So like you said, Chinese casters predicted a 2-0 in favor of LGD. And we've already seen World Elite and how they might have been slumping a little bit. Well, now it's EDG's turn to show us that they aren't in a slump, that they are ready for these playoffs coming up next week.
Alright, so like 3 weeks ago, the standings for LPL were, of course, Starhorn, EDG, OMG and World Elite in the top, and then LGD, Young Glory and World Elite Academy in the bottom. And right now it's World Elite Academy, Young Glory and LGD winning every single game right here. So LGD, they step up. If they win against EDG right here, they will get a shot at the playoffs, because then they will have to play a tiebreaker, if I'm not mistaken, and then get into playoffs most probably. Because if they win against EDG, they will play against EDG in a tiebreaker.
Well, if they win against EDG here, then they'll actually play against World Elite in a tiebreaker, and that is once again provided that EDG 2-0 World Elite tomorrow. So always have to keep an eye on that. And with the ban phase already done, you're looking towards Kassadin, and it's going to get locked in, maybe not necessarily for Koro, but it is going to be there on EDG and most likely going to go to you in the mid lane. But giving up Kassadin might have stepped right in to Wayless's plan. He's had a remarkable Orianna combo, and he's just going to lock it in with Chuan's Jarvan, another champion he has looked very good on.
Alright, so talking about you, at the very beginning of the split, he actually played a lot of Ziggs and Syndra. Right now, these champions are out of the play, so Kassadin definitely a strong thing to pick up. And, well, on the other hand, Wayless once again on Orianna, once again most probably with the Spirit of the Spectral Wraith. Oh, that is going to be interesting.
Exactly. We're going to see a very heavy farm game, most likely, from Wayless here on his Orianna. So the question is, what is the LGD's plan to deal with Kassadin here? Because you can't just give that champion away and expect it's a lock-in on Graves for XQ. You can hear the surprise there from both the crowd and the casters. A lock-in on Graves versus Lucian. I remember when Lucian first came out and got popular in LCS, Doublelift said, hey, Graves is the way to go if you want to counter Lucian. Well, it's a few patches later, and we'll see if XQ's Graves has what it takes to go up against Name's Lucian and Braum.
Yeah, so in the previous game we had a hover over Draven and then an Urgot lock-in. This game we'll get to see a Graves. A lot of new stuff coming into LPL today. And Sona, like, how often do you see a Sona?
It's true, yeah. The Sona lock-in is really strange to me, especially with the Graves. And the idea is kind of like you used to see with like Taric Graves, where you just, stun somebody up with Taric, ult, and then use all of the bonus stats to just blow them apart. Now, Graves did get a little bit of a recent buff, so his ultimate does a little bit more damage at early ranks, and his buckshot does more damage when you hit more of, well, the buckshots. But at the same time, the reason you don't see Graves all that much is because like his range and his burst really aren't what you're looking for towards the mid to late game. He just doesn't burst quite as hard, and he's not as safe as Lucian would be, even though their mechanics are relatively similar between the champions.
Oh, wow, so a little bit of a switch back in the time. We're going for a Graves, Sona, and Kale on the same team. Kale got nerfed by a little bit. After a small nerf. It was still played, but then it got nerfed heavily, so people stopped playing her. Right now, she gets picked up once again. As you said, Graves got slight buff, and we're looking for an extremely interesting game right here.
The big weird thing to me is to see, I mean, out of everything you see, okay, well, maybe Graves is a little bit strange, but it's the Kale pick in the top lane. Like, you don't expect to see Kales anymore, especially not from 17, because, I mean, Kale had her time like 4 or 5 patches ago. It was Kale, Kale, Kale. Everybody loved it. Especially in LCS, or in LPL rather, in the top lane, but especially with the nerfing of the ratios on both Q and E, it's like, well, what's left for Kale to do other than just stand there and be an ult bot? The damage is not there anymore, and well, we'll have to see if that 3 seconds of invulnerability is what LGD need to bring them the 2-0 that they have to get in order to stay in contention for the playoffs.
Alright, so we're getting into the game of LGD versus Edward Gaming in just a second, and it's already looking to be an extremely interesting one. And actually, talking about Kale being the ult bot, it's a good thing for the Chinese scene, because they usually focus around the AD carry getting really farmed, really fed, and then winning the game. So Kale is really still okay for LPL.
That's right. And well, here we are into our first game of our second best of 2 of the night. It's Edward Gaming in the blue taking on LGD. So we got some hot sauce hype here as LGD come out onto the Rift versus a team that traditionally would be expected to be favored against them in the one-on-one. But LGD, with a lot of caster predictions in their favor, have been looking incredibly strong with 5 wins in a row coming into today's match.
All right, and Edward Gaming actually won a game against King in the Demacia Cup, which was kind of sloppy. They lost 1 in the beginning.
Yeah, they lost the first game and then came back in 2 just incredible matches. If you didn't get a chance to watch the Demacia Cup games between LGD and King, or EDG and King, go check them out. Like, LGD actually got eliminated from the Demacia Cup in the first, or in the round of 32. So, King, or rather EDG, doing very well in that tournament. But this isn't Demacia Cup, this is LPL, and you're still gonna make it to playoffs. You want your shot at Worlds, and I'm actually really looking forward to seeing if LGD can actually make it. I feel like they have a ton of potential. Wayless and XQ are pulling out some monster games, and we'll have to see if it's good enough to take down EDG, who are thought, or at least were thought for a very long time to be, you know, that big super team of China, put together out of a lot of different rosters with some very strong players.
Okay, so we'll get to see if this Graves puts up some early aggression. And actually, you asked about how to shut down this Castle in the middle lane. We'll definitely see Chuan visiting the middle lane quite early in the matchup. At least he should. Because if not, it's gonna get really tough for them. As we saw Mickey playing this Castle in the previous games, he just went for top and bot and then got a little bit of kills and was unstoppable. So they need to stop you in the middle lane.
Now, this is already a little bit of an early mistake by LGD. 17 walked up to the top lane and realized it was a 2v1, even though he could already see that, and then stopped going to top lane, had to walk all the way back down and double jungle with Chuan in at the blue buff. So very far behind in XP, and really without a lot of lane presence. You can see LGD, with the absence of that smooth start with their top and jungle, are just AFK shoving the lane down bottom and should be able to pick up a very early dragon off of these lane rotations.
Alright, so
and look at what EDG is doing. They're going for the 4v0 push. This is really strange, especially
it's been
the current
long
meta.
time. Yeah, it's been a long time since we've seen such a play,
but
and
you
that
could be in a lot of trouble. He's gonna get 4-man gank. This is the roam strat we've been looking at from LGD. Showing up out of nowhere, 3.5 minutes with 4 people in the mid lane.
Right, and 4 people in the top lane. As he said, there's going to be a lot of the dragon focus coming from LGD right now. But actually, might be really tough for Wayless in the middle lane this time around, since look at Clearlove and Coro1.
Yeah, EDG are turning it right back around. They said, hey, you guys want to put some pressure mid? We've got some pressure right back at you. Clear Love, Koro, you. They're all there. They're all looking to put that pressure on. Even FCZF coming down from the top lane, realizing that he doesn't really need to be there, and he's going to come put some pressure on to Wayless as well. But he has enough wave clear. He'll be totally safe and sound for now. Chwen and 17 just once again sitting around the Dragon Pit. Theoretically, because LGD have the duo bot lane start, they should have the advantage if they want to go for Dragon, but they're not pushing that advantage just yet, choosing to go for a lot of early pushing power and damage onto that bottom lane turret instead.
Okay, so actually, if you look at Core 1, he doesn't have any CS at all right there, and he's going for the aggression in the bot. That might have been really scary for him. And yeah, LGD will have this turret in just a second.
Yeah, it's a 2v2 bottom lane for Edward Gaming, whereas top lane, Chwen is lagging a little bit far behind 17. Needs to make sure that he keeps her alive. Early turrets are going to go down very, very quickly. And you can see the nice rotation down to the bottom lane for Edward Gaming, putting some pressure there just so that the turret doesn't fall quite as fast. Now, Name is able to dive away just in time, but FCZF, oh, there's a flash out from 17. Name taking a lot of damage. He is forced to flash away, and now FCZF's in a 1v2 that he might actually win. Name is going to dash back in, gets the piercing light,
Oh,
but
the last hit.
no kills.
17 doesn't really connect. He would have been stunned and probably dead after that, but only 3 stacks of concussive blows. But still, actually, talking about EDG going for the pressure in the top lane and getting the turret, it is a late turret. They were in a 4v0 back then, and LGD also got a turret in the bottom lane, so that didn't work out too well for EDG.
It's true, even though LGD were a little bit behind in their solo and jungle lanes and their coordination early on, they do wind up taking turrets at exactly the same time, and that is one of the early strengths of Graves. He shoves lanes incredibly quickly, especially when you count that extra attack damage that he gets from Sona's aura. So LGD going for a very lane push heavy start to this, even without the dragon. And that's kind of confusing. Chwen's been camping top lane instead of trying to rotate for this early objective.
Yeah, and Chwen is putting a lot of pressure in the top. And as you said, they should be looking for this dragon. We actually said it a long time ago, that there should be a lot of dragon focus coming out from LGD instead. Well, Chwen is forcing a bit of summoner spells, but that's not enough. And look at you, he is already level 6 in the middle lane. He might start roaming and getting some kills.
That's true, and he did not commit to those double Doran's rings very early, like we saw from Mickey God. Mickey put a ton of extra effort into the early game, said, hey, I'm going to make sure that I don't lose this early game so that I can scale up late, but Yu is down in CS, so Wayless just going for that farm game again, so Yu's going to have to make it up somewhere else on the map.
Alright, so a little bit of gold advantage in favor of LGD, however. So we are waiting for you to finally start doing something on the map. And the dragon pressure is coming. A little bit of wards put down in this area.
Edward Gaming, now it's actually their turn to group up for Dragon first. You can see Clear Love already starting it off. EDG with about half health on the Dragon. XQ's waiting to maybe try to steal the buckshot. No, only level 5. Doesn't even have collateral damage to try for the steal.
Alright, so actually I feel like it's a big mistake from LGD because they had the chance to take this Dragon down a lot earlier. And instead they just give it away to EDG right now.
So Edward Gaming really getting all of the advantages off of their lane rotation. Their solo lane may be a little bit behind Koro down in the CS, but their carries are right where they want to be. Even Cassidon with a nice Philosopher's Stone there is about the perfect place you could ask for versus an Orianna. He's about 10 to 15 CS behind, but that's completely understandable. He will scale up remarkably strongly and continue to push those waves on in. Koro drops a ward that scouts out 2 people coming top. We'll keep him safe for now.
Oh. That was his death in front of his eyes.
That's true. That's like when you have a blue trinket and you're just like, I wonder what's standing right around this corner. And you see the entire enemy team, you're like, oh, okay, I didn't actually want to know that was there. Ugh. So nice ward coverage. Koro staying alive and staying safe in the top lane. But I mean, if you look at LGD, they're going to try to play this farm game, and they're ahead in every single role with the exception of jungle. So it might actually work out as far as the scaling is concerned, but they have to watch out for this first big Edward Gaming play off of what I can only expect is going to be use Roam.
Yeah, and it's use Roam plus an Evelyn in the jungle, so the early pressure is there on EDG's side.
We're still waiting for level 6 to hit here for PYL in the bottom lane. That's going to be really big. Well, I guess the same thing for FZZ. They both have big AoE CC lockdowns, and that is going to be huge, specifically for LGD, because they can just wombo combo everything together. It's a very, very scary lane for Name and FZZF to deal with.
And there is Chuan from behind, but he actually not really be able to pull anything off.
Koro at 17 exchanging blows in the top lane. Meanwhile, elsewhere on the map, you can see bottom is just a straight up shove and taking the double golems away. Meanwhile, mid, do want to highlight Wayless. He went for the expected build, but it's still a little bit weird if you haven't seen it before. Spirit of the Spectral Wraith on Orianna. We've seen it over and over again in LPL on Oriannas, and it's just used to get some incredible CS numbers. And it's not even just the CS. You're picking up extra gold from killing jungle monsters, and even more gold from the conservation passive on that Spirit of the Spectral Wraith. Now, maybe looking for a dive here. Chuan wanting to come around from behind, but not going to get over aggressive.
Well, FZZF was still level 5, and they could have got him, but then he hit level 6, and nothing could actually happen.
Don't dive the Braum. That is not a recipe for success.
Yeah, and actually that's why LGD is going for the farm game, just because they have Willis with Spirit of the Spectral Wraith. So they're actually focused around Willis for like 3 or even 4 games in a row right now when he's playing on Orianna.
Top lane Clear Love will find out 17 and stop him from being able to get some CS at his double golems. That was a really good play by Koro. One, he actually froze the wave out very far away from 17's turret, so it prevented him from coming out to try to get that CS. Nice job by Koro coming back in the CS count and taking over control of that lane.
Oh yeah, and the gold is still extremely close. But just look at the difference in the middle lane, 40 CS. And Yu is not going for the roams. I actually haven't seen him leave the lane as of yet.
Exactly. Yu's actually trying this farm game, but if you look at it, especially considering the Spirit of the Spectral Wraith, like, look at the CS difference already. That is a, what is that?
40.
40,
a little bit more than 40.
Yeah, 40 CS lead there. And it's only going to get worse as Wayless continues to just AFK farm this lane out. Now he's going to walk over to the Wolf camp if he wants to. Looks like LGD might actually be grouping up for this this mid lane, dragging up in about a minute and a half.
War. Yeah, they could have wanted to go for some kind of gank right there in the middle lane, but the ward spotted them, and yeah, maybe the dragon. Maybe finally LGD will actually secure the dragon, because they were supposed to get the first dragon, and instead they give it away to EDG.
You can see Wayless's Orianna is actually taking the white camp right now. So very committed to getting value out of that Spirit of the Spectral Wraith, getting a ton of extra gold off of that. And actually switching up the mid lane for the bottom lane, as he will go into 1v1 versus Name. And XQ and PYL switch up towards the mid. Nice knock up there. FCCF and you are both going to get dunked on by Twen. That is going to force them both to flash out of there. Well, it's going to force FCZF to flash. You just used his Rift Walk to dash away from there. Now, PYL and XQ, they've gone into a duo lane here just for wave clear and trying to push in that middle lane turret. But after a recall back to base, I actually expected a little bit more itemization from Wayless. He only comes back with boots and a chalice and winds up giving up his turret.
But FZZF still has his ultimate up, however he is recalling, so it's not really going to be too useful, but PYL used Flash and the ultimate for pretty much nothing right there in the middle. A little bit of a waste. Still LGD don't lose anything of that. But bottom turret falls down to Name.
I feel like LGD are playing a little bit more of like an improved World Elite strategy. We in their more recent games have A, been not looking very good, but B, they try this like AFK farm for the super late game strat, Whereas LGD, they're like, okay, we can sacrifice any early game aggression. We're going to turn on super farm mode, and then we're going to hit this mid-game power spike when we have three items and you only have 2, and just blow you apart and win the game right there. It's worked for them before. They have 5 wins in a row off of this almost this exact same strategy, but they have been giving up dragons here to EDG. We'll see if they can make a pay.
The teleport comes in from 17, but well, it's
oh
not
my
the best
gosh,
teleport.
FCZF needs one more auto attack, and it's Chuen. They take him down for first blood. That first blood actually comes at 14 minutes into the game. Very, very late by LPL standards because of how passively LGD have been playing this. But off of the first kill, they will get 1 and possibly even 2 turrets as Name comes to try to defend.
Now that's really good. And, well, EDG, yeah, they got the
Teleport
dragon.
into the turret. If they kill the turret, the teleport cancels. Koro barely arrives, but it's 2 turrets mid for LGD.
Oh, that was pretty lucky, but still, the cooldown is down, so it would be on cooldown anyway.
And Wayless takes
And
blue
Koro.
buff too. So big pickups there for LGD. You can see Koro teleported to the turret and immediately hit the B button. He didn't know where he was going. Couldn't find anything to do.
So even though he pulled this teleport off, it still wasn't too useful. And actually, talking about EDG, talking about Name being in the bottom lane and taking some turrets, he's getting free farm. So you have to watch out for that, because Name is the guy that can carry the game if you let him do a little bit too much.
Yeah, Name previously regarded as one of, if the... Okay. Yeah, I actually think that was deliberate. I think Wayless just ulted that wave just to say, alright, look, you're not pushing this turret. Ult the wave. It's got a relatively short cooldown. He's already got CDR from the Spirit of the Spectral Wraith, so I don't think he's too worried about that. He's going to get blue buff. Wait, what? Oh, okay. He already had blue buff, so he let Chuen
Yeah,
pick
he
up the
did.
blue.
He
Okay.
stole the blue buff.
I was like, wait, why does Jarvie... Oh, Wayless already has the blue buff, so... Because he had just stolen it away, so... Makes sense, and so now we get farming and intensifies from Wayless. He's at 200 CS at 16 minutes. Holy cow! He's almost doubling used CS right now. This is starting to get a little ridiculous.
Yeah, and you is still not on the roams, not getting any kills. They are just getting the dragons, which is not enough to win the game. EDG need to make a move right now.
I feel like the only reason that the gold count is remotely close for both teams is just off of Wayless's CS. Keep in mind, it's not just the huge CS number that he has, it's that he's been getting extra value from CS from both conservation stacks on Spirit of the Spectral Wraith and from killing jungle camps that overall give you more gold than lane camps would. So I want to see them hit the X key and check out exactly how much value Wayless is worth. That is going to be a big, scary number. Yu, though, is scaling up as well. He's got his boots and rods, so not behind by any means, but still just nowhere near the farm count that Wayless has.
Yeah, but the problem is we don't usually get to see the X key pressed, unfortunately. But still, yeah, Wayless definitely has to have an impressive amount of money right there.
Oh my gosh. Wayless just farmed both side camps. He's at 210 CS at 17 minutes. I don't know what he's going to hit at 20 minutes, but it is going to be very close to 300. This is almost record CSing from Wayless, and now might actually be a good time to fight for LGD. Edward Gaming start to push in through their jungle.
Yeah, that is a risky position to stand in for EDG. However, if they get a pick, this can be really nice. But yeah, it's just a Winter's Bite from FCZF and not much more.
Yeah, now it's actually going to be Chuen getting a knockup. A 3-man Cataclysm as LGD capitalized off the ult. Chuen's going to get ulted immediately, stays alive, stays invincible, and look at the Sona heals. Big shields and heals for the rest of the team. Now Koro 1 could be in a little bit of trouble. Dashes into the middle of the enemy team, gets blown apart. Flash over the wall from 17. He's going to be able to DPS it at long range. But look at Wayless, the shaman shockwave. It's just way too big. Yu gets out over the wall there with a nice kill, but it's a 4-for-3 exchange in favor of LGD. And actually 17 trying to catch out onto Yu won't be able to close the gap. But Edward Gaming bit off a little bit more than they could chew. Nice capitalization by Yu to at least make it into a relatively even fight.
I think that it was actually EDG's fight. Like, I mean, Name was untouched the whole fight. LGD lost 3 men in this fight. It was definitely not what they wanted to get. However, they still win it, so it's kind of okay, I guess. But yeah, Name cannot stay untouched in a fight like that.
Now keep in mind, just to give you guys a little bit of an overview, we're going to get a replay of that last fight. You can see Twen goes in, he only knocks up Clearlove, but he does get that huge 3-man Cataclysm. Now, Wayless just shoves the ball in there, but he doesn't go for an ultimate immediately. Waits to get some value here, and you'll be able to see it throw down as soon as Koro gets into the fight. Just watch this Shockwave come out, throws the ball out, and waiting for it. They blow Koro up, and then look at this onto you and Clearlove. Just, oh my gosh. Yu stays alive, flashes over the wall.
Look at
XQ
Name.
flashes after him, but Yu actually turns it back around onto XQ, who got way too greedy. But like you said, yeah, Name able to take down that last second kill onto Graves.
Okay, so there was one mistake by Name actually. He relentless pursuit into the fight. That's why Wayless really dealt damage to him. But that could have been even better for EDG.
Yeah, this is some impressive team fighting on both sides. You can really see LGD winning that fight out almost solely because of their CS advantage. Shockwave was huge, Wayless doing a ton of damage, and the same thing from Graves, just getting in there with that AoE. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Give you guys a brief update, rundown of the standings. You can see them on your screen right now. If LGD 2-0 this series, that will put them at 19 points, actually 1 point ahead of World Elite. Or actually, no, it'll be 3 points, so they'll be tied with Edward Gaming. And that means that they'll have to rely on World Elite to lose at least one, if not both of their games versus EDG tomorrow. So very important best of 2 series for them to win. If they 2-0 EDG tonight, then like I said, we have to 2-0 EDG in order to stay in the top 4. But if EDG loses every game, LGD is still in playoffs. So that would actually force a tiebreaker with EDG instead. So it's out of their next 4 games, LGD have to win at least 1 in order to get a spot in the playoffs and potentially even regionals.
Yeah, and a lot of things can happen right here. Pretty much. No, actually, IG just dropped out, so I want to say that a lot of teams can make it in or can drop out. But now that IG is out of the picture, actually, it's LGD fighting for the playoffs. It's all about them right now. It's all about actually OMG and EDG wanting to get the first place, but well, with EDG doing like that, it's not going to be an easy task for them.
Exactly, and switching things back so you guys can see the crowd. It's, you know, everybody's like, even though it's a pause, they're all like watching with riveted gaze, with the exception of that one guy that's totally asleep right there in the middle. So I'm pointing at him, maybe you can see, like feel my English caster gaze from across the world, and they're tapping him on the head because he's on the middle of the screen. So he's gonna wake up. There's another guy passed out there in the back too, so maybe his friends will let him know that maybe he needs to come back up. But it is a pause, so he's not missing much just yet, but should be getting the games back underway here in just a second.
But wow, like how do you fall asleep on an event like that? It's so hyped up.
Well, to be fair, there wasn't a single kill for the first 14 minutes of the game, so maybe he wasn't quite as impressed with Wayless's farming as we were, but hopefully we'll get him back awake by the time the game comes back underway. It shouldn't be too long from now.
Yeah, and actually Wayless is definitely doing a good job right there in the middle lane. And as I said, the last like 3 or 4 games that he played on Orianna, everything was oriented around him in the LGD's lineup, and it worked out well. So right now, Wayless once again is winning the fights. Like you said, the Shockwave, then he almost 2-shotted Name in the end of the fight. That was also impressive.
Yeah, and Orianna always used to having things oriented around her. It's been really impressive to watch Wayless's farm game here because he's not really taking pressure off the map. He's always in a position where he can be of use to his team, either by counter pushing a lane or still farming, but being in the area to help the rest of his team out if they need him. And of course, we are back out onto the rift, so things unpaused. Let's see everything fixed up and back underway. So attack speed builds coming out from 17. He's actually doing very well at 1-0-4, 100% kill participation for every single member of LGD. So they've been sticking together and playing this game as a team. Whereas EDG, while they might have been doing something very similar, just don't have the kills to back it up.
Yeah, and actually EDG is the team that will just try to get into the team fighting phase and then win the game. It's like the standard LPL Chinese team that is all around the fights and all about the AD carry. But it's not working for them. LGD is just playing better right here because they are going for the same style and they are executing it better.
We've already seen maybe a little bit of a hint of how strong LGD are with their incredible farm up until this point, but this next fight is going to be what really turns the tide of the game. 250 CS at 20 minutes for Wayless. He's looking at a Rabadon's death cap, and as soon as he hits that death cap timing, I almost guarantee you'll see LGD just kind of like jellyfish. They'll have everything all spread out, and they'll just like undulate it all towards one lane and crush it down with the power of Wayless's death cap. He's been power farming for it, but will he be able to take it down? Command Shockwave right onto Name! He's jumping down incredibly low, but man almost jumped into his death. A nice bait there. Wayless really turned that one around.
Oh wow, I don't think it was a bait. He got caught out by a little bit.
They're going back in again. Teleport's coming down from the top lane. Glacial Fissure's only going to hit onto XQ, and it's the untimely demise of Clear Love as finally Koro 1 is going to teleport into the fight. But he is a little bit too late. Can't do anything in the fight, like you said, and there is the end of FZZF as well. LGD, with a little bit of an over-aggressive catch onto Name, take him out of the fight. And they kill off Clear Love and FZZF as well as taking the dragon.
I thought that Tran is going to continue the fight with an EQ and then they'll get a couple of more kills, but yeah, he just had no mana. That was really unfortunate for him.
Oh my god. Alright, so Wayless now continuing the CS, now actually has 250 and hit that at just about 20 minutes and 30 seconds. So trying to keep an eye out on his farm because it's just absolutely incredible. Now he's actually going to steal away his second blue buff of the game. They're really denying these blues from use and keeping them out of his hands so that he can't be that big effective casting out of the map. And now, 17 might be in a little bit of trouble. Is invincible for now, but he just gets blown up now as EDG start to punish LGD for maybe overstaying their welcome just a little bit.
Normally, LGD would just turn around and blow EDG apart, but actually none of them had mana. XQ was really low on health too, so they didn't really want to turn around. However, it's just one kill for EDG and they can win the next fight, most probably LGD.
And Edward Gaming actually forced to dive the turret and zone LGD off just because 17's not there to fight it. So Edward Gaming find a turret off the back of that push, but still are very far behind, at least as far as that mid lane matchup is concerned. Now a 110 CS advantage for Wayless. He's not letting up.
Yeah, he's not, but if not the fights, he would have had like 300 already.
That is true. He's looking to hit 300 right around the 23-minute mark, which is very close to world record status. And honestly, I expect to see this out of Chinese teams. And maybe teams from other regions are going to see this coming. The Spirit of the Spectral Wraith Orianna. It's incredibly strong. China knows how to play this in a way that I don't feel other regions really do. I haven't seen the strategy from anywhere else, with like a couple of random exceptions. But it is definitely not the rate. And there you can see on his screen, 10,000 gold value at 23 minutes for Wayless. That is just absolutely insane. And it's without dragons.
Oh yeah, definitely, because EDG got a lot of them, but still, well, if you look at you, it's 3k gold difference between you and Wayless. So Kassadin not really getting any successful roams, not getting a lot of kills, and he's getting so destroyed in farm. Actually, we have another pause.
Yeah, another pause coming out right as we see a 120 CS difference crested there by Wayless, who, like you said, is 3,000 gold up on his opponent. Also has his Rabadon's Death Cap, and there's a completed Runen's Hurricane for 17 on top of that Nashor's too. So I can't describe how big this power spike is for LGD. If they group up in teamfight right now, their items are such that there's no way Edward Gaming can come out on top, save if they maybe just don't peel or let Name just DPS the entire time. So big, scary time for Edward Gaming as they know they're a little bit behind in the item count. Can they find the synergy or the picks that they need to turn it back in their favor?
Yeah, and actually if it's a 3k gold difference overall, it's just a bit on every guy in your team. But if it's a 3k difference between your mid laners, it's a major item. Right now, Wayless is going to be a lot stronger in the fights than you. It's just cannot really explain it with words. If you see a fight happen, you're gonna see Wailers getting a triple kill and you doing nothing.
Well, the pause is now done. We're back underway. So welcome everybody back to the stream. If you're just now joining us, they're coming into one of the more exciting times in this game. It's been a lot of CSing, but it's been really impressive CSing. Like, I've never had more fun watching a guy kill minions because Wayless does it faster than almost anyone else out there. PYL way out in front of the team. Get that AoE move speed buff, and you'll actually notice LGD use PYL as their little like supercharger. He's their booster rockets. They all stand next to him and get a lot of extra move speed as they run around the map. EDG might look to catch LGD out of position. But the hot sauce is too hot, LGD. Moving around very, very quickly. Edward can't catch him out.
That's not really a big possibility, and well, you didn't die as of yet, but it's just because he's good at running away, but he cannot really chase anyone down. And that's what you want to get on your Caston.
Great ward clear coming out around the Dragon Pit for LGD. Koro's going to recall back to base, but he doesn't have teleport up. If LGD just slam on this Baron, Koro's not going to be there, and a very strong 17 will be there. But of course, Edward Gaming taking this... Wait, oh, okay, Edward Gaming, they wore up the Baron, they're just heading back to base. I think they're kind of calling LGD's bluff here and saying, hey, you guys want to farm it out, so you're not going to aggressively take Baron while we all go back.
No, and I don't think that LGD had too much information that EDG is backing away. That Koro one, actually they knew that Koro one didn't have the teleport because 17 used it at the same time and it was the same fight. Alright.
307 CS now at 24.5 minutes. Wayless continuing that farm game. He's almost about to hit his Void Staff. And at that point, you can see the 3 Negatron cloaks picked up for Koro 1, Clear Love, and Name. Every single one of them recognizes this next team fight is going to have a huge shockwave, and they cannot afford to get blown up by it. So immediately specking straight into the Negatron cloaks. Double Ruby Crystal for Clear Love, just to make that Negatron cloak as effective as possible. But oh my gosh, look at 17. He's destroyed that top lane turret. Oh, Clear Love maybe coming in for the flag. Finds 17 out there. The entire team coming, but there's no CC in 17. Teleports himself all the way back to base. 5-man gank up top lane does not pay off.
Wow, that's such a brilliant play right there. And he wasn't really too useful in the top lane for the majority of the game because he wasn't doing too much damage. Koro 1 was completely outscaling him, and right now 17 hit the power spike, and well, once again seeing the Runan's Hurricanes coming out. So we expected him to be the old bot, as you called it, for the game, and actually he is going for a little bit of damage too.
This is really cool to watch because keep in mind, like, guys like I don't know, just use like Zetai as a reference. He's been in LPL for as long as I can remember. Incredible presence there on that team, but people like Wayless, they came straight out of the challenger scene. That guy was in LSPL last season, and now he's on LGD, and he's doing stuff like this to guys like you, who are kind of legends there on EDG. So for LGD, this is incredible to have this kind of presence from a previous challenger mid laner. And granted, he was, touted as being one of, if not the best, LSPL mid laner out there, but now on LGD, look at how fast they're wrecking this Baron. Clear Love's in the area. PYL is going to zone things out. Gets a nice stun. Stuns Clear Love, so he can't come in for the Baron steal. The Baron's going to go on to LGD, but look at Chwani. He immediately throws out the Cataclysm. Now Name is going to get slowed out there. The chase is on, but FCZF's going to come right in there. XQ flashes over the wall. He's got the damage down and takes out Koro 1, but you in the back line's got marauding damage towards that back. FCZF could go down here, and there's Schwan to pick up the kill off the back of that. Name still kiting backwards. Gets the Braum passive stun onto Twen. Rift Walks and Dark Frenzies will get Clear Love and you out of there. And now the culling coming out just to keep this turret alive. You still in there with the damage. Oh my god! What was that damage? LGD blow you apart. Now they're on the base. They're taking in hip.
There is no calling right now, and actually that's the end of the story. Clear Love, Koro 1 and FCCF, they were trying to contest for this Baron while Name and you were completely cut off the fight. There was no damage from EDG at all. There was no talk about winning this fight for them.
And that is the first inhibitor of the game, taken at 27 minutes. A Baron buff and now a Dragon for LGD, and Edward Gaming just really can't figure out which way is up here. Too much farm on the carries, and just LGD accelerating this game too quickly. Had a nice engage there, kept you zoned, got the Baron, and then got the team fight right after.
Oh, well, and 109 for Wayless at the moment. A lot of gold, a lot from the farm too. And they got the Baron. Right now it's 10k gold difference. They got the inhibitor. In the middle lane, they have a lot of pressure.
Right now, LGD making me say OMG. 4 items completed. 5 if you want to count boosts on Wayless's Orianna. And he's running Ghost Flash, so he can afford to go these Distortion boot upgrades, which just help him get faster cooldowns on those, help him stay safe in these team fights, and put out maximum damage with this incredibly far ahead Orianna build. Like, to compare them, Wayless has 5 items completed if you count boots, whereas you only has 3 counting boots. And they're completely different classes of items completed too. Like, there's just no contest there. Wayless just does too much damage, and especially with the Void Staff completed, magic resistance just isn't going to cut it to stop his damage coming out.
Alright, so coming back to what you said a couple of seconds ago, Wayless, okay, he came from the challenger scene, but actually look at LGD, where they come from. It was Young Glory actually starting to win games, and LGD was really endangered by going into relegations, by getting 7th place. And now they're fighting for the playoffs, and they're winning against top teams, and they might even go to Worlds.
That is true. LGD are still in the race. We can see LGD at Worlds. Maybe a little bit of controversy surrounding their AD carry, given his age. I believe he is 16, which would make him ineligible. And if you look at his performance so far in this game, 2-1-7, he's right in there in the CS count. 2, Command Shockwave goes out, the dunk comes down, and Twins just making moves, helping LGD dive through the turret. Wayless gonna pop the ghost, he's getting in there, he just blows Name apart, takes out FCZF, Koro's dead as well, and LGD just taking charge, taking names, and taking over. Game number 1 from Edward Gaming. An incredible turnaround. From what, I mean, LGD, everybody said the casters were like 2-0 for LGD. They come out with a Game 1 win versus Edward Gaming off of an incredibly farmed Orianna. Wayless, pretty sure he'll get the MVP for that one.
And they weren't even struggling at all. It was all about LGD. They just won the game, hands down. That's really great performance from them. And actually talking about you on this, Cassidy in the middle lane, I think he just died once or even didn't die throughout the whole game. So it's still okay, but he needs to roam around the map. Why was he fighting with Wayless to try and out-farm him? That was impossible.
Alright, well, that is going to do it for our first game of the night. I gotta say, you have to ban that Orianna against Wayless, or at least put some pressure on him. Cassidy is not a champion you pick to put pressure on the mid lane at all, so maybe a big focus change there for EDG. We're going to check out on their Game 1 update as we recap that. In about 10 minutes, come back for game number 2. So stick around. Once again, this is the LPL broadcast here in English on Twitch TV, made possible in part by our friends at Esports Heaven and Games in Asia. Stick around. We'll be right back in about 10 minutes for game number 2.
同时，这个阵容也让他们满意，达到了他们想要的效果。第二就是老干爹的每一个点，今天的发挥可以说在第一场中都是可圈可点的。
对，其实最关键的一个翻盘的点就是在于 EDG 入侵老干爹红 buff 那一波。
对，也不算翻盘吧，就是改变战局的点。
最关键的点，
对，就是。